I have a little tip here for cold weather. It is January 1st, 2025, and here in Louisville, we woke up to colder weather. We've had a pretty mild winter so far, and there really hadn't been a whole lot of freezing weather. But today and we are below freezing, and it's only going to get colder here the rest of the week. So, with that in mind, don't forget to prepare for the cold. It's super important if you are a landlord and you are trying to take care of your property, or if you're a tenant and you want to make sure that you don't have any damage, or if you're a homeowner, you want to make sure that you take care of things so that you do not have any problems from freezing. Many people, we get very concerned about problems with fire and damage and those kinds of things, but more often than not, most of the time, the damage we have comes from water, not fire. And a lot of that happens when pipes freeze. It's very, very tempting if you are a landlord and you have a vacant property to want to just turn off the electricity. That is not a good idea for a lot of reasons. You should try to keep the temperature. If you have to keep it down to save money, I totally get that, but you probably need it at least at 50 degrees, and really it probably should be 55 or 60, but at least at 50 degrees. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, you don't want anything to freeze. Number two, if your property is being shown for lease, I can tell you, I've been doing commercial real estate for more than 20 years, and a tenant, if they're coming in and it's cold inside, the first thing they're going to wonder is, does the HVAC even work? And you can tell them, oh yeah, it's fine. No, the landlord's just trying to save money, and he didn't want to do that. It doesn't matter. It creates doubt in their mind. Now, it doesn't have to be hot, but it does need to be on. You need to be able to show them that it works. You will lose tenants if you do not do that. Now, I totally get, sometimes you just feel like you don't have any choice. But first of all, another thing I want to tell you, if you have exterior faucets, you need to take care of those exterior faucets. Sometimes that'll be something that'll freeze, and it may not, you may not notice it in the house right away or in the unit right away, but that water, if it's flowing down, it can create a lot of damage. So you want to do a couple of things. Number one, check and see if there is a cutoff valve to that exterior valve. Many times, in fact, I would say most of the time these days, there will be an internal cutoff valve inside the house where it's warm, where you can cut off that water. If you do that, your best practice, if you do that, shut it off inside the house and then go outside and open up the faucet to let whatever water is in that might be remaining in there drain out. So in the cold part that might freeze, there's no water being retained in the line. That can save you a lot of headaches. Another thing you can do, and probably should do, even if you shut off the water, it's often a really good idea to put an insulated cover over that faucet. One of the reasons for that is, let's say you do shut off the water, but you have a metal, metal conducts cold. And so it definitely helps. Probably you'll be okay, but it is possible, if it is super cold outside, for that cold to be conducted inside to the water line, and you could still have some problems. So best practice, shut off that water and put an insulated cover over the faucet. Now, if you absolutely feel like, I just can't have my utilities on, do not just turn off your heat and leave your water on. If you do that, you're asking for trouble. I had a client, it's been a number of years ago, it was probably 10 years ago now, And he is a smart guy, and he's also a contractor, so he really knows better. But he had a property that we had for lease, and he was trying to save money, and he turned the thermostats way down. In fact, I think he even turned them off. And we had a hard freeze, and the water was on, and it was a disaster. I mean, water was pouring out of the second floor of his building downtown, and it was a complete disaster. It caused so much damage. He pretty much had to nearly gut the entire interior of the property to fix it. And it was a very expensive mistake. You know, do not do that. If you you just have to turn off the utilities, turn off the water as well. You need to shut it off on the main valve coming into the house. You need to do that. You can even maybe have the water company shut it down, but if you do that, of course, you're probably going to have fees to start your service up again later. But that's not enough. If you turn off that water, you still need to drain the lines inside the house. If there's not going to be any heat in there and you have not drained the lines inside the house, you can still have these lines freeze. And so you need to have the property winterized. You know, for best practices, you should have it professionally done. If you can't get it professionally done, you need to drain the water lines as much as you possibly can. But you have to think about this stuff. I mean, if you do all of this stuff, you really have to think, I mean, do you have a water heater? You know, if that water heater is holding water, let's say you drain all of your water lines, but there's still water in that water heater, that could freeze. You know, you have to think about all of these things. Another thing that you potentially have a problem with is you drain all the water, the backs of the toilets. You know, that can freeze. You know, so technically you probably want to drain out that water as well. But then you kind of have a little bit of a problem. Some things that, you know, saving one thing creates another problem is in the drains. In the drains, there's going to be a little bit of water there, and that is going to be kind of a seal to keep sewer gases from getting into your house. You do not want sewer gases to get into your property. You just don't. It's besides it just smelling really, really horrible, you know, which again, if you're showing the property, no one's going to come into a place. There's no way that they will rent something that smells like a sewer. They just won't do it. And on top of that, those sewer gases they can be a hazard. They can be a hazard to your property. So having a little bit of water in there to keep those from getting in, you almost have to do that. And again, that can freeze. That can freeze. Now, if that does freeze, you know, there's still going to be damage that has to be repaired. It's not nearly as bad as all the water lines freezing and everything else, but it's better than anything else. But your very best practices, I'm telling you, your life will be so much simpler if you can leave some heat on in the property, 50 degrees at least. And again, you know, if you're living in the property and, you know, take care of these things, take care of the exterior faucets, take care of this stuff, it will prevent headaches down the road. So anyway, don't forget about getting ready for this cold. It's super important. You want to do it. It'll save you headaches down the road. And that's it. So happy 2025. I'm David McCoy, Otimo Properties, based here in Louisville. I primarily do commercial real estate. I also do global real estate, and I do some residential real estate. It's not my main focus, but I kind of mainly, most of the time that I'm doing that, it's for people who are smaller investors who are looking for an investment property, and a rental home is just really a good fit for that. So I do some of that as well. But I'm here if you have questions about commercial real estate, you have commercial questions about global real estate, or if you just have questions about any of this stuff, just reach out to me. I'm glad to help you if I can. And that's it. Listen, I'm super excited about 2025. I think that we're going to have a really fantastic year this year, and I hope you do too. And anyway, that's it for now. Talk to y'all later. Bye.